Hi everybody, and welcome to today's interview. On the line I have Tony Zayas, who has been conducting online business since 1999 as an internet entrepreneur, educator and online business coach who specializes in search engine optimization, Web 2.0 and internet relationship marketing. Tony has also written several books and produced audio and video series focusing on using media and marketing efforts, relationship building and digital product creation. Tony is also an accomplished and in-demand public speaker who has given seminars throughout the United States with topics spanning marketing, entrepreneurial leadership, motivation, as well as precise step-by-step business building workshops. Hi Tony, are you there?
I am, Stuart.
Thank you for coming on today's call and welcome.
I'm delighted to be here. I appreciate you having me.
For all our listeners out there, who is Tony Zayas and how did he get to where he is?
Well, he's just kind of an ordinary guy, you know. As you said, I got my start way back, what it seems like, in 1999. And when I say that, that's very humble beginnings. I started like product creation because I was in a band and didn't want to get a job, but I wanted to make some money. And, so I did a number of things, and I started in the fitness niche and put some things together. And, this was back old AOL homepage website days and, no automation and really, very, very humble basic beginnings. Come a long way. I've learned a lot since then, and I've done quite a bit in a number of different areas. But as you mentioned, search engine optimization is kind of something I always come back to, and social media is a big piece of that, obviously, and I'm sure we'll talk more about that. But that's that has been my focus. I've by nature I'm a trainer. I have a background in corporate training, and I have a degree in philosophy. So I like to think and kind of ponder about things like search engine optimization, and I like to teach too. So it all ties in together pretty well. So and I enjoy the topic and staying on top of technology. So
yeah, that sounds all right. So you're a thinking man's marketer then?
Yeah, you could say that, I guess.
Yeah. What corporations did you work for?
Well, I actually, right out of college, I worked for a university, and I worked in management, and I was in IT, and that's where I kind of got my start in training. I developed some training programs there, and so I've been hands-on in technology for quite some time. So I was in a university setting. From there, I decided I was living in Chicago at the time. That's where I was born and raised. I moved out to the West Coast here in the U.S. to Southern California. Yeah. Kind of for wanted to get away from the cold and get to the to the beach and the sun, and so I did that for a number of years. And I'm back in the Midwest now. But during that transition, I worked for, in the corporate world, they were smaller companies. They weren't any type of big global companies or anything, but I really got a good stronghold on training, and that's really where I kind of honed my training skills.
So university, how was it? Were you a rebel or anything like that, or were you a good little boy and head down and backside up type thing to the books?
I was a little bit of I tried to play the role of the rebel. I had my long hair and I played in the band, and but I did pretty good. I was a solid student and enjoyed my time at university, and I don't want to go off in too much of a tangent here, but I briefly ventured straight after school into the world of professional wrestling, and that is actually the logical progression from a philosophy degree, right? And so I did that for a few years, but that actually taught me quite a bit about marketing, believe it or not. So those are, again, my humble beginnings there.
Okay. Did you ever wrestle Russell at all? Russell Brunson?
No. Russell's like a real wrestler. I was like a wrestler in the vein of Hulk Hogan or The Rock or Steve Austin.
Okay.
I actually did the professional wrestling stuff, yeah.
How did you go with that?
It was kind of something I did almost as on a whim, as a joke. not as a joke, yeah, kind of to test myself. I saw there was a tryout. It was a regional promotion back in Chicago, and they had like a weekend boot camp, and it was a / tryout. And I just thought, I wonder if it was like kind of at the height of when that stuff was real popular, and I was a fan, so I was, and I was in pretty good shape, and I thought, I wonder if I could do that, So I went, and I exceeded expectations, and they invited me back, and so I had, a character and a gimmick and all that, and did it for a few years, and that's kind of my, story that I could tell that most people, can't say that. Most people can't say that Brutus the Barber Beefcake chased them out of the ring and tried to cut their hair. I could say that. So,
were you in leotards, or was it the old shorts and vest?
I had I wore some they were cut off briefs, but they weren't the they weren't the teeny tiny little briefs. They were kind of like box cut, So it's still embarrassing if you saw pictures. I wore the big white patent leather boots and the whole bit. But but it was a good time, good fun. Now looking back on it,
that sounds all right. And so with your music group, what were you? Were you a bass player or anything like that, or was it drums?
I played the drums. I started playing the drums when I was young. When I was probably about 10 years old, I got a drum kit and started playing that. And then I started playing guitar when I was probably about 16 or so. I did a little bit of songwriting with the guitar, but I started out as the drummer. But I kind of became the primary songwriter. So that progressed. I moved on from being a drummer. I became I played kind of lead guitar in a number of bands, and I played for a few years and had different variations of the bands, that music's another passion of mine. So something that I love doing, and honestly, that seeing that I had these kind of hobbies that took a lot of my time and effort to really kind of pursue. That's kind of where I got into the world of online marketing. Was I liked the whole lifestyle aspect because it was like I wanted to do certain things that weren't your traditional 9-to-5 job. I studied philosophy, I did that because I didn't know what I wanted to study. So I thought, well, let me just study something where I'll learn a lot that I really like. And so philosophy was it. And then I got my degree. I was like, well, what are you going to do with that? It's like, I'm going to be a pro wrestler and in a rock band, So it was just kind of that, looking for something different. And that's where I ended up as in the online marketing space.
I can see the logical step there from philosopher to rock star, wrestler, and everything else in between.
I didn't really even have to tell the story, did I?
It tells yourself.
Yeah.
So I'd like to first start off by asking you, what's so good about search engine optimization?
That's a great question because I think you always got to look kind of at the fundamentals. People get caught up in, obviously, internet marketing. There's a lot of hype, and you hear all this and that. What's good about search engine optimization is that the whole idea of, paid ads and kind of interruption marketing, those days are long gone now that people have the choice of the content and that they consume online. So with search engine optimization, it's really important to be able to position yourself properly and in a strong organic fashion online. It says a lot for credibility and a lot of other things, but that for me it's a positioning thing. If you can achieve a top ranking for a keyword for your business, that's really important. That says a lot to just your common visitor who's looking for your good or service. When you're over there, as listed under AdWords, people know those are ads. Days are gone where they were fooled into thinking, that's what I'm looking for. And there's nothing wrong with paid advertising, but it's just not as effective. That's just a fact of the matter. So for me, that's what it always comes back to. And another thing is you don't your ads don't come down when you stop paying. A good optimized piece of content or site. I have 5-6 years on some keywords that I don't do anything to maintain those rankings, and they just sit there. So it's important as well.
You mentioned organic results. For those who are listening that aren't quite sure, especially those who are starting out, what do you mean by organic results?
Yeah, well, when you do a Google search, you typically see it'll say paid or sponsored ads, kind of like the first two, typically right at the top. And then off to your right-hand side, in that right-hand column, that'll also say paid ads, and if you look carefully. Now, everything that appears kind of in the main body, it's kind of the wide main primary column right below those two ads right at the top, that is your organic listing. So what that is it's what Google is saying, based on the keywords you're searching for, here's what we believe is the most relevant content that you're looking for. So ideally, that should fulfill what you're looking for. So if you can end up right there at the top on the first page, there's a lot of power behind that. Basically, Google is now vouching for your content. They're saying, yeah, this is what you're looking for.
Okay, so the organic part is the results roughly in the middle of the page, sort of that white little bit of background.
Yep. Kind of the bulk of where the results are returned, because you got ads on the top, just a couple, and then you got ads all in the right-hand column.
Yeah.
The primary kind of center area, where that's the trusted area. They do the heat maps where they show that where people are searching and clicking, and most people now go straight to those organic listings. Those are kind of the trusted area. People know those are the trusted results.
That hopefully give the listeners an idea of what organic is and whereabouts it's located. I know we covered this briefly at the very start, but could you tell our readers something about your educational and professional background and what led you to become such an expert?
Yeah, I think, when I look back on it all, things kind of just fell together. It was something I was interested, the idea of just online marketing interested me. I did some work, I was breaking away from the corporate world, and so I started to do training as a consultant on my own. And in doing that, I realized I needed to dive into the world of e-learning, because I was out giving presentations to small management groups and small business owners and that type of thing. And I realized I could automate all this. If I was doing e-learning, I could be giving presentations via video on the web. And, so that's when it was an idea, and I'm just kind of I'm a researcher. When I am interested in something, I read for hours on that topic. I buy books on topics, and just my wife always says you're like a sponge, because I'm always just looking to just absorb as much knowledge as I can. And so I was fascinated by the idea of wow, like the internet's so powerful. You can position, you can actually and don't take this the wrong way, but you can manipulate the results. You can get them where you can get yourself to show up when someone does a search for whatever it is that is related to your business. So that I was fascinated by, and so I just kind of started at that point. I was curious, and I'm just someone who likes to learn. So, the phrase, expert or guru, those things are thrown around, and the guy who's just, I'm just thirsty for knowledge, and I've just applied a lot of it, and just, put in some time. Anyone that's serious about it, it's made out to be a lot more kind of mystical than it really is. It's just put in the time, the effort, and take action.
Yes, that's sort of a natural progression from one step to the other that led you to where you are now.
Yeah, absolutely. Just like wrestling.
Yeah. with some of those, you mentioned you like to read a lot of books on e-learning and this topic. Could you recommend any to our listeners?
Yeah, I would. Now, it's not related to SEO, so bear in mind. I've recently read a couple of really good books. One is a super old book from like I want to say it's around 1920 it came out, and I found it, and it's called The Go-Getter. And that was actually it's a fiction story, but it's got kind of some business principles behind it, and I thought that was really powerful. Mm-hmm. So that's a good one. And then the other one that I read is called Pitch Anything, and that's a new book that's been out probably, I'm going to guess, as of this interview, about 6 months or so. Yeah, and that is all about, it's basically how to give a really effective presentation and kind of tap into both it's interesting because it's kind of the social dynamics of a pitch or that interaction when you're presenting material. So it goes into kind of in our culture how, you're brought into a boardroom to present to a group of people, and even the way, kind of where you're seated, and everything is the deck is stacked against you. So this book talks about how you break those down to level the playing field, how you use things like NLP to kind of break patterns and throw people off a little bit, because everyone has whoever's listening to this interview, they're in interview mode. They're expecting you to ask me questions, me to answer in certain ways. They're probably not expecting me to be talking about pro wrestling. So that's one of the reasons I threw that in there. Maybe that made this a little more interesting. Like, what is he really? He really wore electric blue tights, So yes, I did, But now I grabbed your attention, and you're like, okay, what else is this guy going to say? So it talks to a lot of that, the social dynamics, and just kind of how you gain the leverage and the authority in the interaction. And really powerful book, and I'd highly recommend it. It's obviously presenting information and selling yourself. That's it can all be related to the online world. So think about it that way. If these are, in fact, if you the listener are an internet marketer, just think of how you can position it for online video or your sales letter, so on and so forth. Really valuable though. So.
It removes the mystique about how to present yourself, I gather. Yeah,
it's interesting because it breaks it down and basically tells you kind of what's happening and why, one party is gaining leverage and why you feel all this pressure to, it's like a push and a pull and a power struggle, basically. And when you learn what's going on, when you have an understanding of that context, it's easier to position things in your favor. And the person that you're presenting to doesn't even understand that. You're actually making them feel more comfortable most of the time. It's just a different type of interaction than what they're used to. And you walk away, hopefully with a win-win on your hands. So.
Yeah, you're breaking down the barriers. You're sort of answering their questions before they sort of think of what to ask. You're getting there and you're sort of getting into their personal space without the shield being put up.
Yep.
And what's that name of the book again?
It's called Pitch Anything.
For those out there, have a look on Amazon and get yourself a copy.
Yeah.
I know you do a lot of content creation for your websites and your lectures and your books, etc. Mm-hmm. How would you define search engine optimization in relation to content creation?
That's something I think a lot of people really spend a lot of time kind of pondering and putting together their content with search engine optimization in mind. And I will be completely honest, I don't think about SEO when I'm creating content. And if this was a few years back, I probably should be more concerned with that. But the truth is that the search engines are so sophisticated at this point that they understand language enough so that if I'm talking about a particular topic, there's going to be different keywords that naturally I'm going to speak about or I'm going to be writing about, if it's a written article or whatever, blog post. That's just going to come up. And if it does, then the search engine, Google understands that those are related keywords. And there's the whole idea of latent semantic indexing, or LSI, and that's basically that you can kind of find different keywords that are related and that the search engines would understand are related. So if I'm writing about, if I'm writing an article on professional wrestling, then words like Hulk Hogan or Ric Flair might come up. So just as an example to stay on theme here, if I'm writing an article about guitar, you may see the words Les Paul or Gibson or Stratocaster or Jimi Hendrix, right? So it's related words. Now, for me in content creation, I truly believe that if you deliver really good value, and you're giving people what they're actually looking for, that you're rewarded for that. Because SEO kind of started off years ago as kind of how do we trick the search engines into putting, my page on page one. It's gotten to the point where you have to provide relevant, solid content, but the nice thing is you don't really have to go back and try to engineer it for SEO purposes if you're really just providing valuable content. So in a roundabout kind of way, my answer to that is I really don't give a whole lot of I don't pay a lot of attention to, like, quote unquote optimizing for SEO. I believe that if I'm talking about a particular topic and I write an article and it's focused and it's a comprehensive article or whatever, it's going to have the keywords in it. And now there are things like you want to have anchor text. So your primary keyword, you want to be hyperlinked to one of the pages, a related web page that's clickable. That's important. Okay, so there are some things definitely, and there's a lot to SEO, and obviously we're not going to touch on it all. But as far as what you're writing, I think people spend too much time thinking about it. I see that a lot. I see people talking about, I need a SEO copywriter, and it's like, really, if you're writing good copy, that should be relevant content, and you tag things properly, you hyperlink things properly, and you got a nice, quote unquote, optimized article.
You mentioned anchor text. I know there's a lot of stuff out there about what anchor text is, the best way to go about it, what you need to do in that. Can you just expand on that a little bit for those who aren't quite sure?
Yeah, anchor text is essentially if you're reading an article and you notice, we'll go back to the guitar example. So if we're writing an article on electric guitars and that phrase, Gibson guitars, something like that, if that phrase, Gibson guitars, you see that's in blue and it's actually clickable, or you can click on that and it'll take you to maybe Gibson's website or your affiliate website going to, Amazon.com for a Gibson guitar or something like that.
Yeah.
That's your anchor text is what that's called. And the reason that's important is because as Google spiders and indexes pages, so that's Google's way of basically analyzing, what's on what's on each page of the web. They're kind of like the librarian, looking through books and putting them in the card catalog, right? Like in the old days.
Yeah, yeah.
So Google basically does that, takes an inventory of everything that's out there. Now, when it scans a page and it notices a link, a hyperlink, it's going to say, what are the words that are actually represented by this link? So if it's Gibson guitars, it gives it a better sense of what that web page it's going to is about, rather than if it just said click here. Like a lot of times that was something that, a few years back, a lot of people would do that. Click here for more, click here. The truth is when it says click here, Google can't tell anything. It's completely generic. It gives no context whatsoever as to what that link is actually about, because click here is just like a completely general term, right? It's that niche or what that website is about. So, there's people sometimes focus on long tail phrases, meaning, if you had a make and model of a particular type of guitar, so 72 Starburst Gibson Les Paul or something like that, that would be your long tail keyword. Just guitar or electric guitar, that would be, kind of a primary keyword. So when you use your anchor text, you're basically what words are showing up hyperlinked, because those hyperlinked words are actually going to be looked at by Google, and they're going to be and say, hey, what does this mean? What is this site all about? And so that's the importance of it. And I think that is important, that you have keywords in anchor text in your articles, in your posts.
A photographic imprint for Google. Like it can't actually tell what it is, but it's like a photographic imprint. So Google says, this is a 1972 Gibson bass guitar or lead guitar. They can't see the picture, but by going through a descriptive narration of it, it actually says, this is such a thing.
Yeah, it gives it some context as to what that's about. If it's just a generic link, you don't get much authority from that, because it can't really tell what that's about. So, if it really depends. It goes back to what keywords are you optimizing for, and then those are the keywords you want to use. That and related keywords as well.
With the anchor text, is that actually placed all the way through the article or your content, or is it specifically designed for a certain area? Like at the start or in the middle of a page or at the end of a page?
This is where I'm going to claim, that's the type of thing that, honestly, Stuart, I don't even I don't pay much mind to that type of thing. Here's the deal. I don't want my content to look spammy. Real frank. Like, I make sure that my sites are properly SEO'd, so they're fundamentally sound. If it's a blog, a WordPress blog, my hyperlinks all have keywords in them, and that don't, again, so the idea is in my URL for that post, that URL will actually give an indication of what that post is about. So now Google's looking at the URL of the page, and it's saying, it sounds like this might be about guitars. Then as it scans my page, it's looking at the title tags, it's looking at the content, it sees a hyperlink, and the hyperlink is actually anchor text that talks more about guitars, and now it's saying, oh yeah, this page is definitely all about guitars. So I don't pay a whole lot of attention to where I put that. I want a natural, my SEO experience started blogging, so I pay a lot of attention to the kind of the reader's experience, maybe more so than some people that kind of have the real technical SEO background. So I want to usually throw maybe a link or two, and that's it. Because to me, if you do a lot more than that, it's going to look spammy, and that's something I totally want to stay away from.
So a good site, I guess, a good optimized site, which would be the next question, but we can sort of answer that in one go, is a really good optimized site is your URL tells Google what the page is about, or the article, or whatever, and then through that page you have scattered a couple of keywords that actually then go on to describe it a bit more, and you finish off with a keyword near the bottom, so you sort of got it spread evenly throughout the page or your article, and Google sees that as relevant, where I gather a bad one would be your URL is completely different to what you're writing about, you've got no keywords, it's completely different to what Google thinks it's going to be.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess I don't give it, and I say I don't give it a whole lot of thought. That doesn't mean that it's not important. It's just I try to write for the reader. But it is important to cover these bases. Having your keyword in your URL is very important. That's something that if competition is pretty low, that's something that can kind of get you page one rankings within a couple. I've seen it in a couple of days, just having a good URL. Yeah, and then I think the concern needs to be making sure. Sometimes when we talk about SEO, we kind of get away from the fact that if no one is reading what's on that page or staying on your site, that ranking doesn't really mean a whole lot. So kind of conversion comes into play here, and that's how you get people on the page. So yeah, that's just kind of a warning. And obviously, I know the people who are listening are interested in SEO, and SEO is very important. But I think it's important just to kind of remember to kind of remain present and realize, like, what's the bigger picture? If you just have a page that's ranking really well, but it's boring, it's unattractive and hard to read, and the content there's nothing of interest, but got a ton of keywords, keyword loaded, you're not going to get good conversion on that. So
I guess it needs to flow and make sense when you read it, so the person's reading it, it actually makes sense to them. It needs to flow like you would be like telling a story or a novel. It needs to flow from one section to the next.
Correct. And, and what we're doing here, this is all in the realm of internet marketing. We're still marketing. We got to keep that in mind. And marketing is presentation, and it's, selling in using words. So I think there's just a tendency when we're doing things like SEO that we get real technical and kind of move away from that. The other side of things, where it's more about copywriting and conversion and all that. So you got to stay balanced on it, but there's a lot to take in and keep in mind. But again, I think at the end of the day, if you're getting started in this, I think the good thing is that once you become trained to this, you can get to a point where the fundamentals are there. It's kind of like, if you're playing a sport, if you're a soccer player and you practice all the time, you practice the fundamentals, right? So come game time in your situations, you don't have to think a whole lot, right? When you're very experienced and you're out there, or even when you're just getting the hang of things, you're able to kind of play in the moment. You don't have to think about, technically the steps you're taking before, how many steps before you take a shot on goal or something like
Yeah.
that.
So it's virtually just get in there and start writing, in other words, and the more you do, the easier it comes to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, that's some good advice. I hope people who are listening can take that on board, because it's certainly opened up my eyes. And some of that, what you've mentioned, is something I've never thought of before. So I think that's a lot of good advice for people out there listening to the interview. I know we've covered a lot about this at the moment. Are there any other strategies that you can share with our listeners on how to properly optimize their content for a page one ranking? I know you've covered a lot over the last few minutes, but is there anything else that you think might be deemed necessary? Or
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things. I think SEO is changing, so I'll get to that in a second. But first of all, the thing that has always been important since people have been doing search engine optimization has been backlinks. So how many links are actually pointing to your site? And the way that works in the search engine eyes is Google sees it, and it essentially serves as almost like a vote. So if another site is linking to your site, they're basically vouching for you, saying, hey, this is a relevant site for whatever topic you're covering. It's at, Gibson guitars or whatever. Check it out. This is a good, relevant site. Because if you're the webmaster, why would you want to have a link to a bad site, right? So if a bunch of different sites are linking to you, in the eyes of the search engine, that's authority. So that's, again, it's kind of like votes in the eyes of the search engine. So there's a number of different ways, and this is, your other things you have to consider is your off-page factor. So how many different sites out there are actually pointing to your page? That holds a tremendous amount of weight in the eyes of Google and other search engines. And at the end of the day, when everything else is equal, really what ends up happening is the most backlinks win. That's just to simplify the process. That's kind of how it works. So something that's important is there's a number of different ways to get backlinks, and they'll occur naturally if you have people blogging about you. Social media is huge. It's really important right now. We're seeing changes in Google where social media sites like Facebook, Twitter, Google+, those sites are becoming so popular. They're so popular that their authority in the eyes of the search engines can't be denied, because that's where people are spending their time. So links from social media sites are they've always been important over the past couple of years, but we just recently saw Google change their algorithm that gives them significantly more authority. So that's an area that we have to be really, pay attention to in the SEO world. I think a lot of people are concerned about this because they shook up results recently with this change. The truth is that if that's where everyone's hanging out, that's I think, to me, Google's doing its job, right? The whole purpose of the search engine is to deliver the best, most relevant content. So I think it's a logical progression just for the search engines. There's always going to be change with the search engines.
I just heard recently, or read recently, that YouTube is now the second most searched place, not search, but place to go to do searches now, and the way it's going to overtake Google away. It's sort of won't be long before YouTube takes over from Google as the top search engine.
Yeah, and that's an interesting thought to consider. I haven't even thought about YouTube overtaking Google. I guess because YouTube is owned by Google and it's tied into its services, and people can do video search from Google. I've always kind of thought that, well, YouTube is beat out like Bing and Yahoo, and I mean that's phenomenal. Just to know that there's a whole large population of people who, when they're looking for something, they do their search strictly on YouTube. They just want video. That's all they want. So that's pretty fascinating, and kind of says a lot about viewing habits and habits online. So
that's a whole other discussion, isn't it? Another topic.
Absolutely.
Before we get off track there, because I know we could go talk about Google for another hour or two, or even longer. It's a week's course if you want to do it properly. Earlier on, we mentioned content creation and how you optimize your site, etc. can you summarize what content syndication is and how it affects a business's ranking?
Absolutely. So I think the important thing here is with content creation and syndication. Syndication just means you're getting your content out to as many places as possible. There's usually two levels that it serves a dual purpose. When you get content out to different, let's say you write an article and you submit your article to a number of article directories, and then you submit those articles to social bookmarking sites. There's just a general population of people at both those article directories and at the social bookmarking sites that are actually going to give you natural traffic because they find your content in those areas. So a site like StumbleUpon, people go there to find new sites, and so I've seen spikes in traffic because I've had content that's been stumbled, and people then passed it around on StumbleUpon, and I'm getting traffic straight from StumbleUpon because it's a place to discover new content. In addition to that, now when you're getting your content out in different places, you typically want to have links in that content that goes back to your primary site or piece of content, whatever it is you're promoting. And so what that does is that serves to generate more links to your site. So it's the idea of building backlinks through that whole idea of content syndication. And you could syndicate content as articles, as videos, as audio. Podcasts are really powerful. Kind of all different formats. PDFs, there's certain sites like Scribed you can submit PDFs to. So content, and what I typically like to do with content syndication is I like to repurpose my content. So, as an example, I've had a lot of interviews transcribed in the past. So, like this interview we're doing, you could have it transcribed, and then you could turn it into, basically repurpose it into an article.
Or an ebook.
Or an ebook, absolutely. Or you can even chop it up and turn it into a series of blog posts. You could create videos with, slides that show the different, we're talking about one topic. Here's a 2-minute, short little video on one of the topics we're talking about. So I think that's a way of creating content without always saying, like, okay, let's make a video today. All right, we're going to write an article today. So don't waste your time. Use what you have and be resourceful with it. But that content that you have, you want to get it out as many channels for two purposes. One, people are going to find it at those places. And in addition to that, it's going to point back to your site, giving you backlinks, which improves your search rankings.
Yeah, so in other words, don't go busting your gut to create content every day. Use what you have. Like if you've got an article written for you, that's a 2 or 3 page article, break it into smaller ones, make an ebook out of it, maybe produce a video from it,
exactly.
Little snippets, Twitter it, put it on social media. So whatever's out there that comes to hand, use it.
Absolutely, and I think, like to your point where you're saying is, take what you got, focus on your quality, because, something that is going away is the whole idea of, like, I'm not going to say article marketing is, dying or anything, but in the past people would write just, a ton of articles. It's just about quantity, just to get links. But the type of articles, they were spinning them, and I don't think necessarily spinning is a bad thing. And that's when you take an article and you basically, change out synonyms and all of that, so it, reads slightly differently but gets the same point across. But what happens is it ends up being watered down is the way people typically spin articles. So, but the point is that if you focus on the quality is what's going to get you visitors, and quality is what is going to convert. Quantity is not going to convert, because even if you're getting rankings and people are, visiting articles that are kind of pointless, you're just doing them in mass quantity. Focus on the quality of your work and then repurpose and get it out in different channels. And that's how you can build. You need, a significant amount of content, but use it through repurposing. Don't do it through just trying to do a mass amount of content.
Oh, okay. So virtually it still comes back to quality, doesn't it? Yeah. It's no good putting out 15 articles all based on roughly the same theme, and it's the same piece of information best rehashed in 15 different ways, which is good to a degree, but you can go overboard and really start to ruin all the good work you've done.
Yeah, and in my opinion, it's like it's easier too. It's like, you know, the amount of time to spend, you know, 300 variations of an article and make a whole bunch of those articles. That like you're spending. I mean, there's tools to automate all those things to a point, but there's always a little bit of, you know, intervention that you have to take, and you have to do a little bit. So why not just focus on just like writing one really great article, and then turning that into a bunch of different good, really good pieces that you're like proud of. I mean, the internet marketing world is so filled with kind of, you know, hypey type of garbage. Yeah, and just that, you know, there's you know, there's good and there's bad, and just on the bad side we see, you know, people are trying to game the search engines and that. And the point is like you're running a business, right? So what do you want? Your content speaks for your business. How do you want to be represented? You know, and that's how you have to look at it. It's like, you're going to be just about gimmick and games, and then when the algorithm changes, you're underwater, or you know, because if you have quality out there, you're never going to think, wow, you know, well, why did I do that? It's not going to bite you now or 2 years from now. So, and in my opinion, it's easier to take one article and turn it into a series of different types of content. And
so keep the quality there. Quality will always win out.
Yep.
I know there are a lot of people that will be listening to this interview who don't have the time to create content, never mind being able to optimize it correctly. Where would someone go, or who should they approach to help them if time is a factor?
Do you want my honest opinion, or do you want me to tell you, tell you something that will appease those people?
Go on. Give some juicy bits.
Okay. If you're running a business, you need to get serious about it. If you don't have time to create content, then I don't think you have time to be in business. Content is the most important thing for your marketing efforts that exists in today's world. You know, again, paid advertising has, you know, the cost and effectiveness of it just is not there anymore. And so we're in a world where people have choice. People are going to find what they want. So where you should be spending your time, where you need to be spending your time, is on that good, relevant content. So if people that say they don't have time, to me that just sounds like an excuse. And I know that might seem harsh, but I mean, again, let's step back. What are we doing here? We're building businesses. Well, you know, you have to put some time into your business. So that's an area you can't skimp on. There's no shortcut. There's no magic bullet for that. But there are things you can do. Like sometimes I like to write, but sometimes I just, it's not in me. So I like doing, again, as I mentioned, just like this, I like doing interviews. I like doing audio. I like making videos. I like doing kind of different types of, you know, different like multimedia formats. And that way I don't get bored with it. I use Dragon, Naturally Speaking, so the dictation software. So sometimes I'll just be in the mood and I'll just want to talk. So I'll just talk about a particular topic, and I'll say, okay, I'm going to talk about, like, I'll make a list of 10 questions. And again, my whole thing is repurposing. So content creation doesn't mean you have to wake up every day if you're a blogger and say, oh, gee, what am I going to write about today? No, you can focus for an hour and bang out, you know, an hour's worth of quality content. Then you chop it up, and that lasts you 2 weeks. And so I use things like, again, I'll do interviews with people. I'll use transcriptions. There's days where I just want to sit and I just want to write like a long report or something, and I'm in the mood to write. Probably my favorite one most recently is just I take my iPhone, and I just record myself. And like I never look good or anything, but I'll just have something come to mind, and right there in the moment it's like, okay, where's my phone? And I'll pull it out, and I'll just capture my thoughts. And quite frankly, people don't really care about the production value if you have something worthwhile to say. So if you don't have time to pull out, you know, your phone and just hit the record button and talk into your phone, and if you don't want to do video, just record the audio. Okay, so you don't even have to be seen. But there's so many different ways to capture that type of content nowadays. Again, I go back, and if this is hard, I'm sorry, but you're being lazy if you're saying you don't have time to create content, because your content is so valuable. It represents your business, and it represents your personal brand, even, you know, to that level. So don't skimp on that. Spend some time. You don't have to spend all your time. If you're repurposing things, you do this once, and then you repurpose it into different formats. But that's my take, man. I hear it so often that people don't want to create content. They just want to, they want some software that you hit a button and it just creates the content. It's like, yeah, you can get that. There's ones that'll scrape different different paragraph from here, paragraph from there, and put something together. Yeah, but is someone really good? Is that going to be that memorable piece where people are like, oh yeah, here I'm going to share this with all my friends because this was so profound.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. So you're more likely if you have that idea in your head, that's going to be better and more real and more, compelling than anything that's kind of scraped together.
It sounds more natural coming directly from within.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know there's a lot of people out there who may disagree with what you say, but I know every man to himself. But a lot of people use PLR reports where they get, by a group of articles made up on SEO or how to run a business or how to do keyword optimization. What's your thoughts on that?
Some people cringe when they hear PLR. I don't necessarily cringe, but what I look at it and I think, there's a ton of potential in that, because I've never done, to be really frank, I've bought in PLR, especially 5-6 years ago. I bought a bunch of different PLR products, so I get the appeal of it, and I never followed through. Like they always say, how many gigs of PLR products are sitting on your hard drive, and it's kind of a joke. Yeah. And it's true. I'm totally guilty of that. But here's the thing: is first of all, when it's not yours, you don't have the same attachment to it. You don't have the kind of drive to get it out there, and it's not. It's kind of like your kid. It's the kid down the block, if he comes over, it's don't run out into traffic. But your kid, it's you're going to protect them and shelter them and take care, so it's nurture them. So, and for me, that's just what I found with content that I've created, products, whatever. I just have a sense of pride with it. But PLR, honestly, when I think about it, I think it's a great idea. And if someone is challenged by the whole, writing and producing content, I think PLR is good. And here's a way you can use PLR. You could take PLR and basically, I would rewrite it. I would use some of the PLR ebooks that I've seen out there. I would use the format of it to give me a guideline for how to rewrite that ebook. So maybe the way the chapters are configured, or even the topics, but then write kind of in your own words, or just swap out certain sections. But I wouldn't just kind of put it out there as is. I think there's a lot of potential with that. Then in addition to that, I think changing the mode that it's presented in. So if it's an article, I would turn it into a video and put my own little spin on it. Now, to me, that's unique content, and that now is my content because it's my slides and it's my voice and, whatever is the case. But I think there is a lot of potential. I think you could do a lot with PLR. I just never have. I've thought of it, and I've had these ideas before. I've just never followed through on it. So that's just me not taking action there. But I'm not someone who's totally against it. I just think you got to think outside of the box. You can't just say, oh, this is, you hear about a PLR membership site where there's 1,000 people that are members, and everybody's taking these articles, and what they're doing is they're spinning them and syndicating them to these article directories. Well, if everyone's doing that, how valuable is that going to be? And especially in time, everything, the search engines catch up to that type of thing. So
yeah, I gather they lose their uniqueness after a while. PLR has its place, but if you're going to go that direction, have a look at it, read it, and see if you can reword it or bring it up to date in your own words, make it a bit more relevant. So I gather some of these PLRs have been around for a while, and information in them may not be current or up to date with today's look out and then views on what's correct.
For sure, and that's the last thing you want is that you didn't proof it well enough, and you find out that there's just really outdated information. Now your name is on it, and it's out there, and you're never getting it back. So I think that's important. But I do think there is potential in PLR, especially for people. Another thing it would be good for is if you're blogging. blogging's a great way to get traffic, to get search rankings. It's awesome. But one of the challenges with blogging is coming up with content all the time, because you got to blog pretty regularly to get really good traffic. So something like PLR, but I would use that for my supplemental pieces. So my really good pieces, my gems, that I'm going to hope a bunch of people link to and kind of get spread all around virally. That's going to be what I create, I'm guessing. But when I need kind of almost filler, I still want to make it my own, but that at least gives you the, think about the news. You can always tell on the news when they've kind of run out of things to talk about, because they always run some story about how, I don't know, bottled water is bad for you and could cause,
or the latest celebrity is
gout, or I don't know.
Or Demi Moore or whoever it is has just tweeted that she had her hair colored or something like that.
That's
the news.
And it's like, wow, it's like they really have run out of content. So and so if the news runs out of content, like of course we're all going to, so that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But the point is try to make it more interesting than just her hair color, so
that's good. A lot of good information there about PLR, because I was sort of researching, and I use PLR myself, and you hear all these so-called marketing experts, gurus that say, PLR, don't use it, every man his dog's using it and it's bad for you, it'll bring you down. But like you said, if you have a look at it, update it, change it a bit in your own words, add your own little uniqueness to it, it will be seen by Google as your own content. So you're not going to lose anything by just spending an extra 5 minutes here or there to just sort of go through it, proof it, and update it in your own words.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you think about it, it's, there's no such thing as an original idea, right? It's all been thought or said before, some way, somehow. It's all different interpretations. So, the things that gurus are teaching, well, they somehow were taught something that led to them to think in the ways they're thinking now. So, like I was telling you about the book that I read. I got a lot of ideas from that, and I'm probably going to project some of those ideas out in content and products I put out in the future. That's because it was good content. So if you have good PLR content, or if you turn that content from bland into good, then content is content. And if you're sharing good, valuable information, I don't care who tells you it's bad. If it's interesting, if it's valuable, that's really all you got to be concerned with.
Once you have your content, like your videos and your articles and that, what services are available to get the stuff syndicated? Is there places where you can go to get it done for you, or is it best to do it yourself?
Yeah, there's a lot of. I'm not going to actually endorse one particular product, because there's plenty out there. But there's services that everything from desktop software to hosted solutions, web-based services that basically you upload you upload the article or the video, and then they syndicate it out to a number of different places. There's some free ones, there's some inexpensive ones, there's ones that are really expensive that you got to pay every month for. So it's all up to you and what you want to do. I do think when you're syndicating video, by far the most important thing is that you put it on YouTube. And usually that should be done manually, because you never know when you're using an automated service. When the worst thing you could do is lose your YouTube account. So I don't think it's worth it. They're always looking for the fact that some of these services, and nothing malicious or anything, but a lot of times it's kind of like a bot that logs in and posts the stuff, and in my opinion, it's not worth that risk. I'll post the video to YouTube. I've used these services, so I'll use them to post to other video sharing sites. But to be honest, where you're going to get all your traffic from is YouTube, 95% of it. Other sites, you're not going to get anything, but what you're going to get are the links. That's important. And if someone searches for you, those other videos may show up in their listings. That's good kind of social proof that hey, you or your company are the authority on a topic. But it's important. I think you hand submit to like the primary sites, or someone on your team, an outsourced worker, whoever it might be. Mm-hmm. The real important sites, I think manual is the way to go for those couple of sites. But yeah, the automation tools help you with time, and they're valuable. They definitely have their place. Yeah.
So the best bit is do your research. Make sure you got the big main sites like Google and YouTube, and things like that. The big players in such search engine optimization. Do it yourself, but the tools do have their place for places like, your blog posting. You can, instead of having to manually go and do a post on Facebook and Twitter, you can actually automate it by some of the downloads you use for WordPress. So that does have its place, but the big boys, do it yourself, and it comes down to, I guess, personal choice, doesn't it, in the end?
Absolutely. Yeah, and again, I use a lot of automation tools, so I'm not saying don't use it. I'm just saying,
they have their place.
Yeah, and like something like I always, manually submit the YouTube video just because, YouTube accounts are, that's part of your brand. We rely on those different channels that we have, and when it's not our own hosted, material, then, I know a few people, and probably some names that some people listening to this may know, that have lost YouTube accounts, and they've had, years of just, dozens and dozens or hundreds even, videos of really great content that they've lost. And so that's the only little caution there with that. But, I think submission is important, getting out in a lot of places.
Yeah, okay. What would be the 5 biggest mistakes that businesses make with their search engine optimization? I know we've talked about linking and making sure that your content's reads naturally and things like that, but are there any other things that a lot of businesses do when they first start out that they don't do correctly?
Yeah, I would say I think losing the focus on the quality, so that's something we already talked about. Consistency of if you are doing content for the purpose of generating traffic rankings, you need to be consistent with it. I'm assuming you're doing something along the lines of blogging, or if you're submitting, articles or whatever, you need to be consistent with it. And this is where, I always hear what if I'm having a hard time coming up with content, or I don't want to spend time creating content. That consistency is what's going to, it separates the people who are serious from the people who aren't. And, it's like a marathon. The people who are still hanging in there, putting out content consistently, are going to win. And that's, that's just, there's no way around that. So you got to be consistent with it. And it sounds very simple and it sounds very obvious, but the truth is so many people kind of get on a kick where, I'm going to get into this, and then they get started, they submit a few things, they write some articles, and then they get lazy with it. Yeah, and so if you're going to go in with the game plan, go all out. Either go all out or don't go at all. So.
Yeah, so it's just a matter of, like you said before, make sure your content's right, you distribute it to the right channels, you give Google a chance to sort of visualize what your content's about. Don't just, like you're saying before, don't just put anything in there. Make sure it's relevant to what you're writing about or producing a video about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Could you give us some insider secrets that maybe our competition doesn't know about?
Sure. I've had some good. I mentioned social a little bit earlier, and the importance of social is just can't be overstated. A few years back, I ran a couple of contests on both Dig and Twitter.
What's Dig?
Dig is a social bookmarking / social news site. So what happens is users will submit essentially news articles. And it really could be anything, but the purpose of it is it's like a user-generated news community. And Dig was a lot more popular. They made some changes to it, and it's kind of not completely out, but it's down right now.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing is that, like, if you, for instance, one of the pieces that I have, I'll give you an example here, is if you type in video marketing report, you'll see a report that I strategically ran a contest. I submitted this piece of content, and it still ranks as the first position for Video Marketing Report because we were distributing a report on video marketing.
Okay.
And that was like 3 years ago, maybe 2.5 years ago. And to this day, it still holds that first position. Well, what happened was I incentivized users to actually go and basically dig or give me a vote at that social site. So I was giving away, it was actually videos to promote an affiliate offer. And I said, video is a great way to promote affiliate offers, and people don't like to create content, right? So I thought, well, we'll make pre-made videos, and if they dig the content, we'll give them the videos, and then they could brand that video themselves. They can syndicate it and get traffic that way. So, but you had to dig it first. So it was kind of like a little contest, like you do this, and then it was just a giveaway at the end for that. So that was the payoff, and that resulted in quite a few digs, and the authority that was given for that, has kept it afloat for a couple of different search terms, and the Video Marketing Report being one of them. So we saw a lot of traffic come from that, over the years.
Dig, in a sense, is sort of a bit like Facebook, where people like it, but so each time someone liked your thing, you got sort of a small backlink pointing back to yourself. It went viral after a while.
That's
the more people liked it,
yeah,
the more relevant that come to the front.
Exactly. And so the whole idea there is that it's that second level that's really what was important. It wasn't that I just put the content on Dig. It was what people did with that piece of content at Dig. A bunch of people went and voted and said, yeah, this is really good, by giving it the thumbs up. It's kind of like, again, similar to the like button. A bunch of people commented on it as well. So all that interaction told Google, hey, something's going on here. This is an important piece. Yeah, so authority comes from that second level. So you can do that with social media, and social media is definitely where you want to focus. That's kind of I'll venture to say that's the future of SEO. A big piece of it resides in kind of the whole social media world, just because that's where users are at. That's what people are doing online. And then in addition to that, when you have any type of content that's out there, that second level. So if you write a blog post and then you repurpose that blog post into an article, when you submit that article to, let's say, an article directory like easyinarticles.com, it's really important to promote a couple levels deep. So what I mean by that is not only don't just go and bookmark Easy in Articles, article there, because that'll give it you'll get a link from a social bookmark. Yeah. But find where else that content shows up, and maybe take the RSS feed from the social bookmark and submit that to an RSS directory. The idea is go back more than one level deep. So just like when I submitted the content to Dig, what really mattered to the search engine wasn't just that I submitted the content, but what happened after that. Yeah. So it's kind of in that a level deeper. And this is where most people don't go. Go one step deeper, because most people aren't doing that. Most people are just looking for a backlink. Yeah. Well, what happens with that backlink? Wouldn't it be great if that backlink had a bunch of backlinks coming to that, so that own piece that's pointing to your site has some authority attached to it? That's going to ultimately boost your primary piece of content that you want to rise up the rankings. So that's kind of a little, really kind of a hidden, really important piece that I never see stated quite vividly enough.
Yes, it's like when you put your video on YouTube, take the embed code from that and then put it onto your blog. Because then YouTube is pointing to your blog. Your blog, Google says, oh, this is on YouTube, it's now on here. So you've got an extra layer for the search engine to pick up. And then that gets reposted on your Facebook, Twitter accounts if you've got automation on that. So that one video is now being linked to 3 or 4, 5 or 6 other different sites, pointing back to you and to your video.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. And then just to take it one step further, I would encourage participation as far as comments or likes, or say, hey, share this, or
Yeah.
anything like that that takes it another step further. So if I put it on my blog, I won't just embed it. I'll write it up, just a short piece on it. It says, hey, share your comments here. If I'm sharing on Facebook, I'm going to say, if you like this, share it on your page. Encourage that, one step deeper now that content's being passed around, or it's being commented on, or liked or disliked, or whatever it is. When the interaction is there, it's a few levels deep. People are talking about it, so people are seeing it, which that in and of itself is important. But also the search engines realize that, hey, something's going on here, and they can sense that. Just it's not like a person that says that and sees that, but they can tell all those metrics when there is interaction and commenting and liking and all of that. So
so it'd be another good place, I guess, when we talked about anchor text. If you're commenting on somebody's blog, make sure your comment's relevant to what it is. It's just not spam, but you can then add your anchor text to the post so it then points back.
Yep, that's actually, that's a very common way to get links is, commenting. And it's still effective.
Okay, that's some good advice there as well. Make sure even when you're commenting on someone else's blog, your comments are relevant, not just spam them. I know Google is always constantly making updates. What do you think about the future of SEO in relation to Google? What does this mean, and how do we keep up?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I think that's what anyone in the SEO world has to consider that. And just keep in mind that the only constant is change, right? And that's what you're always going to see in the world of search, and don't let it upset you. Just realize that's the way the game is played and stay on top of the trends. Now, the most important thing I could say with Google is what we're seeing with all the Google products like Google+. I think people are crazy that are writing Google+ off just because of the sheer fact that it's Google and the huge user base that they have. They're actually creating like a little ecosystem. When you do a search at Google, notice your news is there, your Gmail is there, if you are signed up, your Google+ profile is right there. They have Picasa, they have YouTube, they have Blogger. Okay, so you combine all these different accounts that are all essentially Google accounts, and their user base is probably very close. I don't know the stats. I haven't even looked it up, but everyone talks about how big Facebook is. Combined with all those services, YouTube, Blogger, Gmail, you add all those up, they're all being integrated. They're all getting the same design, slowly but surely. They're all starting to integrate into Google+. You talk about Google Places. Now there's Google Pages. There's Google Sites. It just goes on, and to me, it's obvious that this is their master plan. Everything is kind of integrating. They're becoming its own unique ecosystem. And if you wanted to, you can spend all your time within Google services and probably get everything you need to get done online. At the same time, you're not locked in like you are with Facebook, where you have to allow different permissions and things when you have that third-party application, right? And don't get me wrong, Facebook I don't think is going to go away for quite some time, at least in the internet world, quite some time, just because it's a place where people connect with friends and family, and that's what it's become, and it's really holding, its ground as that's where it does. But Google, I think, is going to become the most important player for business purposes. And the importance of that is that, it goes back to SEO. SEO is becoming much more social. That little +1 button is now being integrated on all the search. Those preview panes, so you could actually, I think we're going to see a lot of people are going to see their traffic, the kind of initial clicks from Google, go down, because now if they're showing up on page 1, there's actually a little preview pane. If you just hover over the listing off to the right, you could see what the page looks like. And so a lot of times people will click through to a page, they'll look at it and say, no, this isn't what I want, and they'll click back. And that person who owns that site might say, oh, I have all these visits, but their bounce rate is high. People aren't spending a lot of time there. Now, with that preview pane, people might just say, well, what's there? And take a look and say, okay, no, that doesn't look like it. They may not click through. Not a good thing, not a bad thing, just keep in mind things are changing. So the way they display it, number of impressions may be important because we may realize that we're not converting as well because people are just looking at our preview and not clicking through. So that might actually be good because it's going to tell us more about the behavior of the people that are looking at the page or the listings. So, the key is just to stay involved. If you're not on Google+, I don't care if you're going to use it or not, go get on there and understand what's going on. Tap into it. I think it's important to be part of this, just to know what's going on if you want to be serious and you want to stay relevant in SEO.
Yeah. So really Google Plus and by the sound of the way Google's going is Google's going to be more business orientated for to help the business sort of promote themselves, whereas Facebook's going to become, like you said, more social. It's going to be a mum and pop or daughter and son chatting to each other, and sort of at the moment Facebook is used to sort of, a lot of businesses use that to interact with their customers. So you think Google's going to sort of take that side of it away from Facebook in not the too distant future, or do you think they sort of both have their own mediums?
I think there's at least for a period of time, there's definitely going to be place for both of them. Google Plus is not in a position to take over Facebook right now, but will they grab some of that market share? Yeah, definitely. Will they overtake Facebook? It's possible. It's entirely possible. I mean, think back. I think the people who are writing off Google Plus in the early stages, it's crazy because think back a few years ago what everyone, the so-called experts were saying about Twitter. Oh, it's, everyone, it's all just a waste of time. Oh,
and
really?
Facebook, come on,
and oh no, Facebook, that's never, people are on MySpace. No one's ever going to move over to Facebook. Oh, really? Okay. Well, how did that work out for you? So, it's like we forget, history repeats itself, and we always miss out on those lessons, right? So why do that again? I hear so many people writing Google Plus off already, and it's like there's a lot more. This is much more well thought out than what we could see initially. And again, I'm not saying it's going to take over Facebook. It may, but right now our habit is friends and family, Facebook, right? Mm-hmm. But when we want to find something, we don't look on Facebook for it. We go to Google or we go to YouTube, which, guess what? That's a Google product, right? So that ties into all the Google products. So I do think for business purposes, Google's super important. No matter if you're going to be on Google Plus for personal reasons, I don't think that matters. What matters right now is you're in business, and you can't deny Google's importance, for SEO purposes.
They have some good tools out there that are free to use, so why not use them? Google's invented them to help you as a business, so use what they've given you.
And I think we all benefit when Google Plus forces Facebook to make positive changes and vice versa. So
you come up with a lot of good content so far and a lot of good insight into things. What advice would you give a struggling small business? Someone just starting out, they've been listening to this, and they're going, whoa, this is way too much for me to understand. What advice would you give them when they're just starting out and they're struggling to get a foothold?
I was just going to say, stop listening to me babble about stuff and we'll make something happen. No, I would say just stay focused. There's so much to learn, and, I could start to kind of geek out and talk about all this stuff because I've spent a lot of time doing it, and you the same, I know, Stuart. And but the truth is that if you're new to this stuff, don't let the amount of information out there overwhelm you. Just realize that it's like mastery of anything. It takes time, and there's no magic potion. So to the guy who tries to sell that to you, just buyer beware. There's a learning process, but I would say stay focused and pick, if you're going to be a video blogger, stay focused on that. If you're going to be, you're going to write articles, stay focused on that. Expand in time, but most important thing, take continual steps. A lot of times, and I've been guilty of this many times in the past, someone who's I've been learning since 1999. That's the most important thing, is I've been learning this whole time, and at many times I've been kind of like paralyzed. They say paralysis by analysis, because I love to learn. I want to learn I want to know everything that's going on. At a time that's actually hindered me because I would stop and completely be frozen because I want to know everything before I do anything. And you know what? You need to get out of that. You need to take action, learn while you go. And that's the most important thing, honestly. Just go out and, if you want to try to get good at SEO, put out content, try to optimize it, see what happens. And then take another piece of content and test it against it. Do something totally different, see what your results are. Where are you doing better? You might be able to tell me on what I should be doing if you, run a little test. So, but take action. Just try again.
So one step at a time, one small step, as they say. And don't lose focus. Don't get bogged down trying to make sure everything's 100%. Get in there, even if your content's not accurate, find out where you've made your mistakes and improve on it. And then next time, improve on what you've done that. And that you get proficient. And then once you've got proficient, then go on to the next stage. So one stage at a time.
Absolutely. That's the name of the game.
Is there anything else you wish to add that we haven't really covered? I know we've covered quite a lot. But is there anything else you think we haven't covered that you'd like to expand on?
Well, I guess being someone who's created, digital products, something that you can use, and I've learned this from the people who have tried to rip me off, is file sharing sites work really well. They rank well.
What's a file sharing site?
So it's a site that you can actually upload any type of content to it. If you put, it could be video content, it could be PDF files, any files, any digital files. You basically upload them there for the purpose that someone else can go and download them from there. But the point is that while people could do this to illegally share stuff, like I've found out the hard way, if you put in keywords in those files, they actually rank really well and really quickly. So you may want to put your own content in there. And you might see some pretty good rankings from that. So that's kind of a little secret little nugget that's out there. I won't say secret, but just something quite frankly, I never focused on that. And I learned because I saw things that were out there of mine like, hey, so I had to have our assistant send out this letter from our attorney to a few hundred of these sites saying, take this down per your terms of service or else. And for the most part, that works too. That's a good thing if, someone does pirate your stuff. That is a concern if you're selling things online. People are going to steal your stuff. And you know what? Be flattered by it. If it wasn't good, no one would care about it. But when you see a bunch of, hundreds of different directories that all have pirated copies, it's just like, hey, that's, no one passes around, no one burns copies of a bad CD, right, and gives to their friends, so.
Oh, I don't know about that. My son's picked up a few that I've watched.
Well, yeah, that's probably true. But, when you're a kid, you think it's good, right? That's why you share it with your friends.
You're watching a movie, and all of a sudden you got someone's head walking in front of the screen.
Oh, yeah, one of those, huh? Yeah.
Do you have any last words of wisdom?
Wisdom, wow, I don't know if I got any of that, but...
Or could you give a summary about what we've gone over today?
Yeah. In the world of SEO, I think where the wisdom lies is just staying on top of what's going on with the search engines and not losing focus of what's the purpose of the search engine. The search engine's purpose is to deliver most relevant, useful content for someone who's searching. And we tend to get too kind of analytical and focused and serious about our building a siloed site and tags and, all the technical SEO stuff that, it matters, but it doesn't matter as much as why are you doing this? Again, it goes back to if your content isn't that valuable, it's not going to convert. So it has to have that human element. And again, our content that we're putting out, that represents us. So take care and use the power of SEO for good, and stay on top of the game. And social right now is the name of the game because that's where everyone's at. That's where people are sharing content, and it's great for us because it's so easy to access. It's so easy to get information to other people, and I think it's a great way to leverage. It actually makes things a lot easier.
Okay, that's a good bit of advice and a good summary. It encompasses everything we've talked about. Now, how would you like, in years to come when Tony Zayas is retired and he's sitting back in his villa in Spain or in the Caribbean or something like that, how would you like to be remembered,
Stuart, that's kind of a humbling question to me. Honestly, I want to be remembered as a loving father and husband, like at the end of the day, that's really what matters most. As far as business-wise, professionally, I hope that people remember me and think of me as genuine, and that I helped. And if I could have done those things, then I'll be able to feel really good about myself.
And lastly, I know we've gone over a lot today, and it's getting close. I know it's getting late at your end of the world. Where can our readers find out more about yourself and your endeavours?
Well, you can, a couple of things. I'll give away 2 resources here. My blog, TonyZayas.com, has been inactive for about a year and a half now, but I've actually been creating content for that for probably the last 6 months. It's all video blog content, and the reason is it coincides with the project that I'm working on, so that will become active again here probably within the next couple of months. When this interview is out, I'd imagine it'll be live again. And another piece that I would encourage people to go take a look at is something that has been a big focus of mine, and obviously would come through as thinking back on the interview, but I'm developing something called the Social Business Blueprint. Socialbusinessblueprint.com will be available, and at this point in time, when you go to that site, you will be able to get the free version of the Social Business Blueprint from me, and I'm considering my options on what I'm going to do on the back end, just to be real transparent. And I'm moving towards going back to coaching, to be real honest.
Yeah.
I've done quite a bit in terms of like selling products and doing like really large group coaching, and that's been all great and everything. But I want to see people really, like, Stuart, it's great hearing from you, and I've followed kind of you and your career. I love seeing people like really take action and learn things and go and make things happen. I think I could do a lot more working one-on-one with people or in very small groups than I can selling products to a whole bunch of people and getting them on a webinar. I can't hold them accountable. I can't answer their questions directly. So that's kind of where I'm moving. But the Social Business Blueprint will probably be the conduit that will hopefully get my name out there in a bigger way that I'll be using for this next project. So I invite you to check that out, and there should be some valuable free content there for you, if nothing else.
That sounds good. Sounds like you're very passionate about your coaching and things like that, because some courses I've taken myself, as you know, some of them are yours. Some of the coaching is sort of, they put it out there and there's no feeling to it. It's sort of very sterile. You go there, follow this, do that, where some of the other coaches like yourself, you can interact with the actual person who's providing it. You can sort of, it's like a one-on-one, a big brother type effect. And that's what I find interesting about your type of coaching as well, is you're like a big brother to a lot of these people, and I think it makes it a lot easier to learn as well.
Yeah, well, thank you. I appreciate hearing that. And I think it goes back to my training background. I get a lot of gratification and satisfaction in just training and helping people along. And, so on my part, it's selfish in that sense, because I get a lot of, for me, I enjoy doing that. I do. I really do. When you put out an ebook or something, you have no idea what someone does with that. But when you're working with someone, interacting, even if it's a group coaching setting, where I can get that feedback and find out, like, wow, Stuart's, gone on and done a ton of great stuff. That's awesome to see, and to know that I played just a very small part. And if you picked up one thing from me, then that's awesome. And that's kind of where my heart lies, and that's why I'm going back into that avenue.
I know, yeah, it sounds good, and I wish you all the success. Anyway, Tony, I know it's getting late at your end. I'll finish up here, and I'd like to thank you for being online with me today. And I know a lot of our listeners and viewers will get a great deal out of this. So once again, Tony, thanks for giving me the chance and the opportunity to interview you, and I wish you all the success for your future endeavours.
Stuart, thank you very much. It's been my pleasure. I really enjoyed it, and I wish you all the best as well. You're doing great things out there.
Thanks, Tony. Catch you later. Bye-bye.
Take care.